Family court is like a battlefield where the weapons are legal and the casualties are hearts. The battlefield that no one tells you about, and it's not what you think it is. And I'm going to tell you 5 things today that they don't tell you about family court. Now, if you end up in family court, these are things you need to know before you walk into that courtroom. Now, I've been through this. I went through a child custody battle as an unmarried father. I was dragged through the court system. And while people think the system will protect them, there were also some really bad things that I wish someone had told me before I walked into that courtroom. So let's go ahead and get started with number 1. Number 1 is there isn't enough access to legal resources for low-income families. It's hard to find a lawyer that will take your case if you don't have money. Now, the government does provide some free legal services to low-income families, but the problem is those services are often overbooked and overworked. This means that you might not get the attention that you need from your lawyer, and that can be devastating. When I went to court, I did not have the best lawyer, and it wasn't because he was a bad guy. He just had too many cases and he just didn't have time for mine. So I was kind of in limbo. But if you're low income, there's not a lot of options that you have. You might be able to find some pro bono work, meaning free lawyers out there, but those are few and far between. A lot of states have different programs to help people out, but the problem is they're usually so backed up that you won't get much attention. So keep that in mind going into court. If you're low income, it's going to be very hard to find a good lawyer. Number 2, the cost associated with legal proceedings can create a barrier to justice. Going to court is expensive. There's filing fees, court costs, lawyer fees, expert witness fees. The list goes on. And this can be especially burdensome for low-income families who may not have the financial means to pay all these costs. Now, if you don't have the money to pay for your day in court, then guess what? You're not going to get a fair shake. You're not going to be able to put your best foot forward. You're not going to be able to get the things that you need to get to win your case. And that's just the way it is. The courts don't care if you don't have money. They want their money. The lawyers want their money. Everyone wants their cut. And if you don't have it, then, sorry, you're probably not going to win. Now, some states do have programs in place to help with these costs, but again, they're typically backlogged, and you may not be able to get the help that you need when you need it. Number 3, family court does not focus enough on mental health and emotional support for families involved in custody disputes. The mental health of everyone involved in a custody dispute should be a top priority. However, family court proceedings can be so stressful and emotionally draining that they can take a toll on everyone's mental health. Now, this is especially true for children who are caught in the middle of a custody battle. The emotional toll of being separated from one parent and the stress of going back and forth between 2 households can be significant. But what happens when you go to court? All they want to know is who has the best argument and who can prove it. Your mental health is not a consideration for them. Now, I've seen it firsthand. I've watched parents come undone in the courtroom. I've seen children break down because they just don't understand what's happening to them. And it's heartbreaking. And the court system doesn't seem to care. They don't provide enough mental health resources or emotional support to families involved in these disputes. And that needs to change. Number 4, family court doesn't always do enough to protect children from domestic violence. Now, this is a big one. When making custody decisions, the court's primary concern should be the safety and well-being of the child. However, in cases where domestic violence is present, family court may not always take the necessary steps to protect the child from further harm. Now, this can be due to a number of factors, including a lack of evidence, the court's own biases, and the belief that domestic violence is a private matter. Now, let me tell you something from my experience. Domestic violence is never a private matter. And when you go to court, it's not always addressed in the way that it should be. Now, the court may order a parent to undergo a domestic violence assessment, but these assessments can be costly and time-consuming. Plus, they're not always accurate. The assessment may not always accurately assess the risk of domestic violence and may not lead to the necessary protective measures being taken. In addition, family court may not always have the resources to monitor the situation closely enough to ensure the child is safety. This can leave children vulnerable to further harm, and it's not right. And number 5, which is probably the most important thing that they don't tell you about family court, is that it's a game rigged against you. That's right. From the moment you walk into that courtroom, you're at a disadvantage. The court system is not designed to work for you. It's designed to work for itself. And I know that sounds crazy, but let me explain. The court system thrives on conflict. The more conflict you have, the longer your case drags out, the more money they make. So what do? They encourage you to fight. They encourage you to argue. They encourage you to stay in conflict. Now, if you're not careful, you will get sucked into the vortex of family court. You'll start fighting more. You'll start arguing more. You'll start spending more money. And before you know it, you're just another cog in the machine that is family court. Now, you have to be smarter than that. You have to remember that you're playing a game that is rigged against you. You have to be willing to fight for yourself. You have to be willing to stand up for yourself, and most importantly, you have to be willing to walk away from the game when it's no longer serving you. Now, I know that's easier said than done, but it's something you have to be prepared for. In conclusion, family court is a battlefield where the weapons are legal and the casualties are hearts. It's a system that is broken and in need of repair. The fact is, the court system makes money off of your pain. They make money off of your misery. They make money off of your conflict. So be careful. Be very careful. If you end up in family court, it's not what you think it is. It's not a place of justice. It's not a place of equality. It's a place where the rich and powerful win. And if you're not careful, you will be exploited. All right, so if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. If you like the content, share it with someone who needs it. The biggest favor you can do is to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.